So once again, hello to everyone. Welcome to Toastmasters in BizLabs. I'm glad to see you all, and I would like to open the meeting by telling you a little bit about our club. Our club is a worldwide non-profit educational organization which empowers people to become more effective speakers, and also is the largest provider of, as you can see, dynamic, high-value experiential communication and leadership skills, which we incorporate in our curriculum that we use during our public speaking skill learning, basically. Toastmasters is a very big organization. It has over 350,000 members. This is a real number because you can find it all over the world. This week I had a chat with a guy from Switzerland who is one of my suppliers. They have a great Toastmasters club, so I'm invited. And also people from Canada and from Germany. Everywhere you can find a Toastmasters club because people everywhere want to be empowered to learn how to do public speaking right, and of course learn all other things coming with it. Our curriculum is developed by American professionals, and the organization, when it has grown, has attracted real talent from professional people who have a lot to give. And the idea is that we want to give it. And every club like this one is made of people who want to give something else to the rest of the people and receive experience. Because being here, speaking here in front of an audience, this is great experience. So we would be very glad if you would like to join our club. More information you can receive after the meeting because we will have a small networking event. You can ask either me, Veso, Nikola, Eli, or the rest of the members who you will understand shortly where you can find information from. So thank you all. Enjoy the evening, and I would like to welcome our Toastmasters of the evening, Eli, to continue.
Thank you. Dear fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, I will be your Toastmaster of the evening. That means I will lead the evening and I will lead you through the agenda here, which is basically the whole organization of the meeting. As you can see, there are also on the agenda, there are also other things, but I will explain them later. And as Angel told us, Toastmasters is about, one of the things it is about is public speaking. So tonight you will hear 2 prepared speeches done by our members. But before that, there are different roles which you will hear more about when the time comes. But for now, I would like to share with you that we have a person called grammarian. And the grammarian has 2 main responsibilities. The first responsibility is to pay attention to our grammatical mistakes and give us his or her report at the end of the meeting. And the second of his main responsibilities is to inform us of the word and the idiom of tonight's meeting, which we are all going to use tonight. And with that being said, I would like to invite Angel back to the stage because he will be our tonight's grammarian, so he can present us the word and the idiom of tonight's meeting.
Thank you. As Eli said, every time we want to improve our grammar, every time we want to improve our use of English, this is why we introduce one word, which tonight is exuberant. It's an adjective, and it means to joyously and unrestrained and enthusiastically be happy about something. So if you have to give an example, for instance, I chose one which is my favorite. On the Christmas Eve, kids use exuberant laughter when they rush to get their presents open. So this is one good example. And the idiom of the day I chose is at the 11th hour, which basically means that something is really rushed, done at the last minute. For instance, something I bet you can all relate to is, again, he submitted his paper at the 11th hour. And everyone who wants to practice their English tonight and is speaking here should try as much as possible without any initial preparation to use those words, and I will count them. So basically whoever uses them the most and properly will be the winner for the grammarian tonight. So that's it from me. Thank you. And
Thank you. To be honest, I came here in the 11th hour tonight. So I didn't exactly have the time to check out your word and idiom of tonight's meeting. But I hope you all like it because I like it, and I hope that you will also like the meeting and you will leave here exuberant.
Of course.
Okay, and as I told you, one of the things we do here is to prepare speeches so that we can become better speakers when we speak in front of an audience. And to do that, before telling you about our speeches, I will lead you through our agenda. As I told you, we'll first hear 2 prepared speeches, and after that, we'll hear 2 speech evaluations. After that, we'll have 5-minute break, and after that, we'll have the table topic session, which is the most fun part of the meeting. And at the end of our meeting, will come the formal part, but I will tell you more about it later. We will begin with our prepared speeches. To do a speech here, we have something which is called a menu that helps us to work on a different skill we want to improve during our speech. For example, the first speech we are going to hear today will be presented by Angelov again, and it is called Measure the Impact. It's on project number 3, and he's currently working on a manual called Effective Coaching. When he finishes this manual, he will learn how to understand and build consensus. Here it's written. He will learn how to establish strong public speaking skills, and he will learn how to contribute to the development of others by coaching. So that's what he has chosen to learn, effective coaching. And the objective of his tonight's speech, the purpose of this project is to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. So that's what basically he's going to try to do in front of us today. And again, with that being said, I would like to invite you to the stage so we can hear Measure the Impact. Measure the Impact by Angelov.
Thank you. I will just need a second to load my presentation. I won't lie. Tonight I came here for listening. Yes. I wanted to tell you that tonight you look great. I have this feeling inside, Veselin, something's gonna happen in your life. Next morning when you wake up, pump up the music. Don't let everything stop you. Release all inhibitions and go for the best things of life, because one day, what's stopping you from being President of the United States? Yeah, it sounds funny, right? Because fellow Toastmasters, sometimes life isn't what we want it to be. Sometimes great words and pumping up is not enough. Sometimes we need to really think what's behind the things that we see, that we say, and that we perceive in life. And this is why it's important to do research, which is why I chose a topic called Measure the Impact. It's a topic that is very interesting and is already being developed by a great presenter called Trevor Ragland, and is based on a research done by Carol Dweck. Both people were a great inspiration, so you can check them out after the meeting. I believe you will have a great time with their chance. What those 2 people have done is a research among 5 graders in the US. They did the following. They gave them a non-verbal IQ test, which was very simple. When the kids did the test, they decided to divide them into 2 groups. On the first group, they said, "Wow, you did really well. You're very smart." So basically, they decided to boost their intelligence. For the second group, however, they decided to choose a different approach and said, wow, you did really well. You must have worked so hard for that. So basically, they praised their effort. What really happened next? The kids started thinking about the feedback they received. Later on, they gave them a second test. The second test, they said to the kids, guys, now you have two options. First test, they said, well, it's not going to be that hard for you, this test, you know. But you also have a second option of a different type of test. It's going to be a little harder, but I think you'll do. So what happened is that among the kids whose intelligence was praised, 67% of them still chose the easier option. Not very logical. Among the kids whose effort was praised, 92% chose the harder option. Why? There's a very good explanation given by Ms. Dweck about the issue, and I believe it really is revealing something that's not easy to see in normal life. When we praise someone's intelligence, especially in kids, they start thinking, I should really live up to the expectations my parents have or my teacher have. They think I'm smart. I should make sure I don't do wrong with this impression. So better play it safe. I'll pick up the easier test. I'll get a great result and I'll be praised again. Because the hard test, if you get a better result, you're no smart anymore. So this is why they picked the easier one. The other guys who were praised for their effort said, oh wow, I'm a hard-working guy. I might not be as smart as the rest of them, but I can do it because I work hard and I won't give up. So they said, I need to get better at this. No point wasting my time with some easier test. I'll go on the harder option because I want to grow. And they chose the effort. What happened? What happened is that they gave them a third test. A final test, which was actually much harder than the first two. It was the same for both groups of kids. What happened is that the guys who were praised for their effort, when they saw the difficult test that was really hard, they decided to accept the challenge and raise up to it, raise up to the standard. So they achieved 30% better results than the previous two. While the guys who were praised for their intelligence, they felt, oh my God, I'm going to fail, what am I going to do? They were not willing to push themselves harder to reach the better results they had before, and they achieved 20% smaller results. Basically meaning that there is a gap of 50% in results between the two groups of kids. So something very small, you would say, but what a huge impact it makes. Something that otherwise, would you really even discern is important for kids and their education? Probably not. Not without the research. Which is why I think that people such as Carol Dweck are very, very important, and it's great really to hear them and to understand their message, because we are all kids and we'll all have kids one day maybe. So it's great to know that we have to measure the impact. So don't praise intelligence. Intelligence or abilities can sometimes put peer pressure on you that disables you. It's better to actually praise the effort, because in any situation, you can rise up to the challenge and you can exceed expectations. Thank you all. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you. I really did enjoy your speech. You were so confident that I'm sure that you didn't do your speech in the 11th hour. Okay. Now, in front of you, you have small sheets of paper. I mentioned that the objectives of Angel's speech, you can see them on the screen again. The purpose of his speech was to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. If you think that on the topic he chose to present in front of us today, he used the basic research methods and his speech was well organized and well researched, you can write that down on the small sheets of paper and give him a feedback. If you didn't like something, you can write that as well. Whatever you can think of and whatever you can encourage him to do next time. When you're ready, please raise a hand. I will come and collect. Take it easy. Don't get too exuberant giving him feedback.
Well done.
I believe we are all ready, and that means that we can continue with our next prepared speech, which tonight will be presented by Nikola, who is sitting over there. And Nikola's speech is called The Art of Telling Stories. I'm getting exuberant. The objective of his speech is to display good usage of body language. That's basically it. He should show you his body language. With that being said, I would like to invite Nikola so that he can present us his speech. Take your time if you need to prepare.
I'll take my time, of course. I'm exuberant as well to deliver my speech. And I'll start my presentation in the 11th hour because I don't have time before that. Let's see. Listen, all of you. And listen to me good. I'll tell you a story. A true one. It's about a man, a journalist, Rob Walker, who, just for the camera. Yeah, it's about a man, a journalist, Rob Walker, who decided in 2009 to conduct a study about objects. You're maybe wondering what does it have to do with stories, and I'm gonna tell you right now. What he did was, he went on eBay, he sit on his computer, he logged into his eBay account, and he bought 200 objects, like a watch, a laptop, or whatever, different objects. Well, not a laptop, because they were very inexpensive objects. Like, their average price was under $1 each. He bought them, and then he wrote to 200 authors. He asked from each one of them to write a story about a single object. And 200 authors wrote 200 stories about 200 objects. And the interesting thing is that he was he was anticipating to sit on his computer again and log into his eBay account and try to sell them. And do you think there was a difference? What do you think has changed? I'll tell you. This beautiful pink horse, a fluffy pink horse, was bought for exactly $1. But the price it was sold for was $104.50. Which is very interesting, right? What stories can make. And if you think that it was a coincidence, it was maybe only one of these items got like that. Well, no, it wasn't a one-off situation. He bought all of them for a total of $199 and sold them for $8,000. Just think about it, how big of an effect can stories have. But do you know what's even more interesting? Even more interesting is that you and I go to the movies, for example, and we go and watch some kind of movie, for example, like James Bond. And I'm really, it's such an unrealistic movie, and we all go there and are exuberant after watching it, going outside the cinema after that, and be like, yeah, James Bond, yes, such a nice personality. I want to walk like James Bond. I want to speak like him. And what we do at that moment? We, out of nowhere, we come up with the idea that we go to some watchmaker shop, and it's just a coincidence, but we go in there, and there happened to be that same watch, that Omega watch, that resembles the one that Bond was wearing in that movie. And here's that watch. And we're paying $10,000 to have it on our hand. And why do we do that? We do that because we buy the whole experience. After we buy it, we're more of a Bond. I feel like Bond right now by having it. It's not on my wrist, but I do feel like it because it's mine. And just think how such a simple and small thing like stories can have such a huge effect on us. And do you know why it is like that? Because it goes down to one simple thing. Stories make us emotionally invested. We invest emotions when we listen to stories, when we see stories. And stories are all around us. As I said, when we watch a movie, or even when we just speak to to someone. It's all stories. And what are emotions then? Emotions are a very complex thing, and essentially they are a conscious feeling of state of mind and different expressions, but it's also biochemical reactions. The emotions are biochemical reactions. And these biochemical reactions, there are hormones and neurotransmitters that are flooding our head with everything but objective thinking. The objective thinking that we have goes to the trash. And that's why stories do exactly that thing. As we saw what the James Bond movie does to us, they make us emotionally invested. We put a lot of us in them, and we completely forget our critical and objective thinking skills. And that's why I'm telling you all of this. I'm telling you this story, and that's why I chose this project, because stories are a very big part of public speaking. And we can all and must try to learn and use them as much as possible, because that's a very good way that we could influence people and move them, and they're really, really consistent with doing it. So that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Last time Nikola did a speech that was connected to body language. I was the one to evaluate him. So I personally thank you, because I was pretty exuberant to hear your speech. And if he managed to make you exuberant as well, please write that in the feedback to Nikola. Or if you think that he has done his speech in the 11th hour, also write that down. Whatever you can share with him. And again, raise your hand and I will collect it.
Eli, we didn't know you were so exuberant. Personality.
Again, the objective of his speech was to display a good usage of body language appropriate to his speech. box on the table. Okay, I believe we're all ready now. And we can continue with the next part of our meeting. As you can see, what we do here, one of the things we do here, and as I mentioned before, but now you saw it, is to improve our public speaking, and that includes a lot of skills such as body language, how to be confident in front of the audience, how to organize your speech so that your audience can understand, how to enrich your vocal variety, your vocabulary, and other things as well. And as a Toastmaster, because we have a tradition to choose a quote, a popular one, or not so popular, and to discuss it during our meetings, I've chosen something I connect with our club, and that's what you can see on the agenda here. And I've chosen a quote by Mr. Winston Churchill, who said that success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. What do you think about it? Is there anyone who would like to get exuberant and share his thoughts or her thoughts?
I like to fail. I like to fail as faster and as harder as I can, really. Because
Fail mindfully.
mindfully, of course, there's no point of failing if you don't do it mindfully and realize your mistakes. But there's also another quote in this sense that whoever fails faster succeeds faster, and that's why I don't mind failing. It's completely normal. No one's perfect. No one succeeds always, and it's just the thing that you shouldn't be afraid of failure. I think so, and you should jump right in it and do whatever you want to do. If you fail, okay, you just learn from your mistakes, and if you succeed.
Can you give us an example? What is your biggest fail you have succeeded from?
Okay. A failure that happened to me recently, but the success hasn't come yet. I know I will succeed from it, but it's still not.
But you're exuberant about it.
Yes, I'm
success
exuberant.
will come.
Very mindfully failed. Last year I started running and did an ultramarathon, and this year I decided to start swimming and cycling as well, to do a triathlon. And I signed up for one, but I started swimming from zero. Before I started taking courses on swimming, maybe I would have drowned in a pool, completely nothing. I wouldn't have drowned, but so to say, yeah.
Ultimate.
And yeah, and the thing is, I needed to be able to swim 2 kilometers in an open sea, and that's why starting from zero and learning it for 3-4 months, I guess it wasn't enough, because I wasn't able and I didn't make it. And just 2 weeks ago the competition passed. I didn't go, but I'm continuing to swim now, and I will soon sign up for another, and I'm sure I will make it. So yeah.
I would like to say I don't like to fail, and for me there is no such thing as failure. It's just that I have not won yet. beginners.
Yeah. Okay. Can I add two things, by the way? So, failure is okay, yeah, because you can learn from it. But it depends on the consequences of what happens after you fail. And the second thing I want to add is, yeah, it's helpful to you, and you might not take it so seriously, but your boss sure does.
What do you think is the worst thing that can happen?
Oh,
If you're not a doctor, we will exclude the doctors.
get a
If
person,
you fail.
get an innocent person in jail. If you're a lawyer, if you're a lawyer, right?
Well, hopefully none of us will ever be.
What, lawyers?
In jail.
Might be a good experience for you.
I would like to focus more on the enthusiasm part, because my favorite quote is "The secret to success is enthusiasm" by Walter Chrysler. So I think that whatever happens to you, if you keep doing the right things with enthusiasm, you will succeed. Because if you lose your enthusiasm, you might try, but without a real emotion and passion for what you do, it could be a bit more of a fail than the win.
Yeah.
That's why you're always exuberant, right?
I try,
Yeah.
but I don't use my own word enough, so that's a problem.
So start, please. Even if you say it in the 11th hour, it's okay. There's still time.
You're taunting me now.
Is there anyone else who would like? Yes?
I would like to add, he said the secret to success is enthusiasm, but I would like to quote one of my favorite people. He says the secret to success is hunger. And you might recognize that person because he has a movie that's called Stay Hungry. So, yeah, that's what
I would say, why not go to success without enthusiasm? Isn't that option on the table?
Of course.
Just fail miserably.
It comes with experience. No, it comes with experience.
No, because you always have to be exuberant.
No, you don't.
I agree.
Enthusiasm equals attitude and having a positive attitude in this case, because this is crucial.
Absolutely. Although I get the feeling some people here are artificially exuberant of late.
Go to Sophie. I can add something that I love the idea that, of course, you can never trust quotes, but certainly a well-educated British person wrote this, and I love how it can really mean both things, because as you know, success means, as a linguist, I should know that it means not only winning, it means continuing. So at one point you discuss the first meaning that winning consists of failing, but not losing enthusiasm, so you continue until you win. But there is the negative side to it. Success, like continuation, consists of failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. So think about stupid people that argue. And like success, continuation means that they fail, but they are stupid. They continue, they fail, but they are stupid. But they still continue with enthusiasm, and in this way, they will succeed in being stupid to the rest of their lives. So I love this quote.
Exactly.
It is not only motivational, but it shows why stupid people are stupid. So it's really written by a British person, very subtly, politely. It can, offend people.
Also imagine being a salesman. Most of your work is failure. Like most of the people you talk to are not convertible to customers. The very few ones who do, they are enough, which is okay.
But it's not also being stupid, it's also being naive in some cases, because as Angel said, it's good to be enthusiastic, but not to go too far, because you should be moderate about it, because if you're overly enthusiastic and don't measure objectively the goals that you have set for yourself, the consequences might be detrimental for you, as Vesco said. Yeah.
And I think that Angel touched in his presentation exactly what happens when people are afraid of failure with those children that were afraid to fail, and exactly because of that they opted for the easier options, or he had it on his slides.
Very nice discussion, Ellie. Good job for picking this quote.
I picked this quote because I currently watch the series called The Crown. if you have seen it, about Queen Elizabeth, and Winston Churchill also takes part in it. And also, if you have seen The Darkest Hour, it's a good movie. So if you want to hear more about his quotes, you can see them.
May I add something?
Yes.
I think it's okay to be artificially exuberant because that way we learn the word better.
I cannot argue.
Okay, I'm really happy that we had such a good discussion, but now we should continue with the formal part of the meeting, and that means that we should hear our speech evaluation, because every speaker in our club receives an appropriate evaluation after his speech concerning the objectives he had to cover. To begin with the first one, I would like to ask Veso to the stage so he can tell you what he thinks about Angel's speech.
Okay. So Angel, very interesting speech, very interesting topic.
You're very exuberant.
Thank you. I will touch on your exuberance later on my review, but first onto the goals of the speech. I think that he achieved the goals perfectly. It seemed that he was very keen on and knowledgeable about the topic he was talking about. Something to note that it was very good is to show your sources. Like in the front in the first slide of your presentation, you showed who were the sources of your speech, to underline them and to show everyone else where you got the information. So that's very nice thing to do in our society as well, because from time to time we tend to forget who are we quoting, who exactly are we basing our opinions on, and so forth. Right? The information, we must check it and understand where it comes from. So in regards of you doing the goals of your speech being well researched. Yeah, thank you for the mindful or the mind. And in regards of research, you did your best. I think that it was top notch. Something about the other parts of the speech. I think that it was very good in your body language. You seemed to be very free. Last times and in the times before that, you showed a little bit of formality, and I think that with every next speech you do, you seem more free on the stage, which is very good, right? To present your ideas, to present your emotion. So that's very good.
It's not just because I complimented you, right?
No, no. We'll get to that. Vocal variety, I think that it was great. I think that you're starting to get a very good idea of how to use vocal variety, how to underline your message with vocal variety, your emotion with your tone, with your volume. So that's very good. Two not so nice things to note, right? Well, the beginning, you were very exuberant about me when you were talking about me, which is very good. I'm happy about it. But in the end, or at least I got the impression that when you said that I was going to be the president, right? That was supposed to be something unimaginable or something that was not that likely.
Unimaginable?
Yeah, because I don't have American citizenship. So anyway, but you should have changed a bit of the tone, right? To underline it as something different from the other part that was so exuberant. And the name of the speech was okay. It was underlining with your topic, and you said it in the speech. But I think that the whole idea of your speech in the central part, the highlight of the speech was this research, right? So I think that something more in the regard of the research could have fitted better within with the topic in the name of the speech, right? So I think that it's not a mistake, but something to maybe think about. All in all, I think that was a great speech, and I look forward to your next one. Thank you.
Evaluations are something really good, in my opinion, because we can all learn from it, not only the speaker, so that we can, and that we should not repeat his mistakes. And now I would also like to invite Ivan, so he can tell us what he thinks about Nikola body language.
Everyone, let's not wait for the 11th hour and give feedback on Nikola's exuberant speech. I think it was a very strong start. Nikola was grabbing our attention immediately. When you stood up here on the chair, you made good eye contact with the audience. You looked at everyone on all sides. I think you should think about more on how to use your hands when you're not doing anything with them, because this Illuminati symbol, you're doing Angela Merkel, Trump, all of them love it, but we sort of don't get it. So think about what to do with your hands when you're not using them better. You were very confident, and it was a strong sense from you. I think you made a good play with pointing fingers. It was wonderful. And you had a really strong presence. You made a good impression by walking. Not all the time, just part of the time. But try to make desynchronized movements with your hands. Most of the time you try to synchronize them. You had a good smile all of the time. I think what you should do more to improve is add more variety to your movements, and do like your speech suggests. Tell a story with them. Like have a sequence and ending. That's about it. It was great.
You should do evaluations often, because you get exuberant about it. And as promised, and as you can see on our agenda, here comes the time for our table topics. And I would like to ask you something.
Okay.
Do I forgot something?
The pause? Or not?
Sorry.
Would you like to do a break before
Let's do a
it?
break.
Okay, let's do a break.
Okay, let's 5-minute break. Catch our breaths.
Да, на хората, които ми обявят думата. За изюбване. Събори с опис. Когато говорим за цитат. Малко уточнено в началото на представянето на цяло всички хора, които участват в организацията. Това е много специално. Тоест, дженерите именно всеки път е различен. Първи път аз правя code word. Този мастер е Ели. Фактически code word е само каращи думи, нещо повече за някаква. Този мастер е човек, който води цялото събрание. След това има конкретни, които са различни хора, които говорят. Това беше много. Този път ми беше толкова силно. Този път беше обаче ясно, обаче сме скрили се обаче. Темата ми беше Measure and Impact. И беше Java Research, защото това ми по принцип след това ще ме тема. Всъщност много е те подготвят се нещо като свободна сесия, в която беше той изготвя въпроси на теми, на които може да се говори свободно на всички. Всеки един човек така че може да вземе участие да говори по темата за една минути, след което правим и състезание, което се дава награда за теблтоп. Сега разбира се, ще дам награда. Но е много забавно време. За между говорите, обаче един случай, в който се за съжаление, аз съм малко натоварен от цяло ами аз съм свикнал, аз говоря пред хора много време и недавно обаче след това много хубаво, че точно това научаваш, защото честно ще кажа, началото на спорава. Правината нагоре, говориш тихичко и той веднага ще участва само за това на това работи. Обаче първите пъти са точно така, особено бях много добър, както и така че колкото и пъти да станеш, ще си полезно. Нещо много изпитваш и начало. Така че да препоръчвам, дали да ви страх.
Не, то не е толкова страх, просто има
знаеш, много хора да се отказват. Много хора срам ме назерком. Точно
аз съм свикнал да говоря пред хора, аз мисля, че съм
по-критични. Идеята е да не става много голям футбол, защото като са много хора, наистина човек може да се приятел.
Аз това искам да са повече хора, да съм напрегна повече.
Между това ниво ще участваш и на Toastmaster Convention, които са шили хора. Гърция, пак е спи. Ако влезеш в нашия канал във Facebook, аз ще да ти шервам там тези, които са били победители в подобни проекти. Значи самия може да гледаш, но много забавно.
Няма дебат, само
идеята е speech giving and speech evaluation. Дебатите са естествено, всеки харесва, когато този, който си подготвил темата, има някаква идея, която здрава. Обаче целта е това е основно, така се води language, защото практически 70% е води language, 20% е vocal variety
то зависи от темата.
Самата тема е
Не, в смисъл за body language е зависи от темата, защото може да подбереш хубаво, да има нещо национално, да може да
то по принцип да ти кажа, това си е инкорпорирано, защото, например, аз започнах много имаше идея, Steve, да, всеки път преди снимат кофеите, трябва да започнеш с някакъв интересен старт. Измислиш нещо, което
Обаче ще бъдеш, че ще е доста интересно начало.
все пак не трябва някакво out of the context.
Знам, аз сейчас опитах съм как презентирам.
So you've been here for less than a month?
Той не е пред, той е такъв професор, не само, но има много такива. Аз горе-долу за презентация от него съм гледал. Всеки такъв цикъл, ходи него.
Там както всичко ще да четем, това ми е правило впечатление. Как сега изглежда от време, защо е човек? Какво се получава? Няма си го обясниш, когато не знаеш какво е. Това е правилно много полезно.
Като оценяват, имат ли някакви критерии или е свободно такова?
Като си има evaluation sheet, това е електронен рецепт. Може да се разпечата на хартия, иначе моя който е логът там нали отива на моя фич и пише и става моя профил. Така че да, организирано това е много по-добре. Готовите сме. Почваме вече. Нikola ли да?
Там е това.
I wouldn't do it again. I do computer science or something.
He's practicing for the course.
Always have enough savings, punching time, just adapt and change as you're fine.
Right on time.
Right on time or in the 11th hour? Not so sure.
Very well said. Very well said.
Okay, I think that the 5-minute break is over, so we should continue with our meeting. And here comes the time for our most fun part, and the guests can also take part. So I encourage you all to take part and try to beat me in the usage of the word and medium tonight.
Yeah, do it before the 11th hour comes, because after that.
Is it like a game of questions?
It's like a game,
Okay,
sort of.
so something that you should know about the table topics is that the table topics is about originality. Because when we speak in front of an audience, we are not always prepared, and sometimes we should think on our feet, and we should try to think something in the 11th hour.
At the 11th.
So that is what table topics is about. It is usually like questions that you're not prepared to answer to, and you should think on your feet. Sometimes we do it like a game. The guests can also take part. The only thing that you should remember is that the table topics master, which tonight is going to be Vasily Stoyanov, who is sitting over here, he will explain you the rules of his table topic session. But the only thing you have to remember that is crucial, that you have to pay attention to Nikola. Because he is holding cards, as you can see. When you see the green cards, it means that you have talked enough and you can sit down if you want to. When you see the yellow card, it means that you will soon be over time and you have to wrap up your speech. And when you see the red card, it means that you should shut up, because no one wants to listen to you and no one is exuberant of hearing more about your speech. That's basically it. So with that being said, I would like to invite Vesu so that he can tell us the rules.
Come on. Attention to me. It is time for the most exuberant part of the evening, the table topics. Now, as a tabletop master, I have prepared, or I haven't prepared that much. But I have prepared an idea for us to have a little bit of fun and to talk. So, as you see in front of you, you have white sheets of paper, right? You should have. Still, you should have. So, yeah. On these white sheets of paper, you'll write 4 things. Tonight's game is going to be called Heroes and Villains.
Excellent.
All right. So on those pieces of paper, write 4 things. Whatever you choose, like characteristics, like abilities, like inner world of your hero or a villain. So let me set an example. Perhaps I can write red mustache, angry, laser eye beams, and small shoes. Okay, so totally random things. And when you write those 4 things you think of, you give your piece of paper to the person that is, oh, that's a nice idea, by the
More
way.
fair.
Okay. So I will gather them all up, and whoever chooses to speak will pick his luck from here.
Just
Think
repeat what to write. The 4 things are characteristics, superpowers.
Whatever you like.
It should be about heroes
They
and
can be
villains.
like personal traits too, like you're grumpy. And when you pick up the piece of paper, I will give you a few seconds to think about it, and you have to present yourself with those 4 characteristics, either as a villain or a hero.
Okay.
Okay, so should we write all 4 on one sheet of paper?
Yep.
Yeah, on one sheet of paper.
Okay.
All 4 on one sheet of paper.
Uh-huh.
Like, you pick up one sheet of paper and just write down 4 things about some kind of character. Whoever is ready, I can come and pick up his character.
You should also know you can pick your own.
Yeah.
So. It's the future present.
Just to remind you all, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to speak, so keep in mind the time. All right. Ready? All right. What?
Should we write names?
No. It should be a number. Yeah. And to be totally honest with you, after we're done speaking, we will have a competition. You can vote for the person who you think spoke the best and and you have to be within the time limits between 1 and 2 minutes to qualify. So we're going to have a competition as well.
Can I make a suggestion?
Right.
When the person comes in front of the audience, can she or he tell us the words before he starts speaking?
Why not?
Because it would be more fun.
Okay, why not?
Before I give you the piece of paper, can I ask something?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, were we supposed to think of a specific hero or villain and describe him or her?
No.
Okay.
But you could do that to help.
Or we have to use the words, or we have to act out the words.
You can do it. If you act it out, I'm gonna vote for you.
Yeah, whatever way you like.
Especially laser beam.
And teleportation.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
I hope it's not just one word, because
Alright.
I wrote little kind of paragraphs.
Good enough?
Okay.
I could only think of 3.
No.
No.
So, everyone ready?
Eradicate.
Just write something.
Alright. Okay, so
Yeah.
alright.
We're cool.
So we're about to begin. By the way, you can choose to present yourself for a villain or a hero. Whatever you draw.
We would like to invite the guests, of course, to
Yeah, of course,
participate.
because-
This is your time to
To
shine.
shine.
Any guest, please.
Who's gonna break the ice?
Come on, fail.
Come on, start.
Yes? please.
Alright. Okay. Alright. Think about it.
Ooh, this is yours.
The paragraphs.
Okay. Wow, massive. Has a pet hamster on her shoulder.
No.
Ooh, that's nice.
Actually, you know what? Just keep it to yourself, okay?
Yeah.
Because you'll give too much weight.
What, we have to guess it or what?
No.
No.
Yeah, he just presents himself. So I'm sorry. It's a bit mean.
Timer?
So,
Yeah.
what shall I do with those terms? Describe the character?
Describe, yeah.
Imagine yourself as a...
Myself.
You could always act it, you know. Do a little practice.
Only you're the hamster. This is never so... You're right.
This is quite tricky.
Yeah.
I am a very hippie, right-wing liberal, progressive, and I like fish. Good start. I once in a while enter political discussions with my pink sword and wave it at people, just to be sure I'll win, regardless of arguments. Like, it's a fucking pink sword. People are coerced by it. And of course, Trump, peace be upon him. I have a pet hamster, and he is my best friend. I also like to consult with him, and I call him Mommy. And always gives me the best advice on what to do, and I'm wondering,
Where's the hamster?
it's imaginary.
Those are the most beautiful.
Where is it? Aren't you supposed
On my
to
shoulder.
potentially...
Don't you see?
Like, it's here.
It's
So-
not a left
Come on, it's...
Excuse me, did you say that you're a right-wing
Yeah.
progressive Liberal.
It definitely
I
didn't say
think
that.
that's the people who vote for Trump, yeah.
Definitely didn't
Yeah, I
say
think
that.
I'm done. That's
All right.
You should read it out. Read it out. Exactly.
No, we should read it out beforehand. It's hard to guess otherwise.
All right. I think that was a villain, by the way.
Right. Villain, definitely a villain. Come on, Trump
Okay, has a pet hamster on his shoulder,
as well.
whom they talk to as if it's their mother to console them.
Perfect.
Well, that's very interesting.
Are you a writer?
Always says Trump.
Always.
Always says Trump.